Hello friends, welcome to the new series. Here we are going to study JavaEE technology servlets. In this video we will talk about the basics of JavaEE. Then we will set up our development environment. So here we will set up Wildfly and Eclipse both. So here Wildfly will act as our backend web server. Some people call that as middleware or application server. And then Eclipse is the IDE we use for the application development, or we will use Eclipse to develop the servlets. So first let us get some basic understanding of the JavaEE. So we know JavaSE. JavaSE is the standard edition, so which we use to develop a desktop application. So JavaEE is developed on top of JavaSE. So JavaEE is Java's enterprise edition, so which is built on top of JavaSE. So the JavaSE actually comes with Java Runtime environment and JDK, Java Development Kit. So in this tutorial we will use Java 1.8. So let's say that when we talk about JavaEE, we should know about JCP. So JCP stands for Java Communication Process. There will be members, usually the corporate IT people. So these corporate units, they discover some of the specification for JavaEE technology. So they will submit it to JCP. So what they submit is JSR. So they supply the JSR, Java specification requirement, to JCP. So the JCP people, so the corporate unit can be anything. Say for example, IBM, Oracle. So you can imagine. So these are all the members of this JCP process, Java community process, and they will form a Java specification requirement. Say for example, specification requirement in the sense servlet requirement or JSP requirement, EJB requirement. So all those are formed by this kind of people only. So they will submit it to JCP. JCP will perform a review on the submitted requirement. So once they see any issues, they will talk to this whoever is submitting it. So any one member will submit, so they will talk to that concerned group and they will sort out the issues. After the review is finalized, they will publish that requirement to JavaEE specification. So JSR will be, so the specification will be part of the JavaEE. That's why you see JavaEE 3, JavaEE 4, 5, 6, and in each release you may see some different, a new JSR specification included in it. So once the JavaEE is part of this, this JSR Java specification requirement is part of JavaEE, we will call that as a publishing. So JSR published it to JavaEE, then this published JSR will be retrieved. So once again, so JCP will review and finalize the JSR. Then that JSR will become a part of JavaEE on a particular release. Then this published JSR will be picked by the server vendors. So server vendor in the sense, so here vendor in the sense you can see the vendors as Tomcat, WebLogic already specified, no need to tell here, WebLogic, JBoss, Wildfly. So all these are the server vendors. So what they will do, they will pick up those published JSR specification and they will provide the implementation for the specification. Say for example, if you find JavaX dot some technology like Servlet, HTTP Servlet. So what method should be there in the Servlet and what are all the interface we have to provide, all will come through this JSR. So the JCP will already reviewed those JSR and that's why it's published and it become part of JavaEE. And after that, once it becomes available with the specific version of JavaEE, say for example JavaEE 4, then the already existing vendors, they will take those published JSR and they will provide implementation. So such a implementation will come like this. So that's why, say for example, if we are talking about JavaX.Servlet, that will not be here in JavaSE. So where do we find this JavaX Servlet? So we will find it as part of JavaEE. That means whatever application server you will pick, so whether it is Tomcat or JBoss, you will find the Servlet implementation in their package. So either if you are using Tomcat, you will find that package in Tomcat, or if you are using it in JBoss or Wildfly, then you will find that Servlet specification implemented here. So that's why when you are looking for a specific JavaEE technology, say for example JAX web service or RESTful service, then first you have to know that whether a specific vendor implemented that. So we definitely know Tomcat implemented Servlet as well as JSP, because it's a lightweight and very quick in processing the Servlet and JSP request, but may not be good for huge traffic, but for learning purpose a nice one for the Tomcat. But the Tomcat may not implemented all the JSR specification compared to WebLogic or Wildfly. So they may these vendors will often look at the JavaEE spec changes and they start implementing the JSRs. So that's the background about JavaEE here. So now let us look at JavaEE. So we know that JavaEE has many parts, all came through the JCP process review, and once the JCP finalized it, it will become part of JavaEE. So such technologies are, say for example, we can take Servlet. So here you are seeing various JavaEE specification. So that means the JSR specification. So we call that as JavaEE technologies, Servlet, JSP, Java Server Pages, JSF, Java Server Faces, EJP, Enterprise, Java Beans, and JAX WS, JAX Web Service. So all these are different JavaEE technologies. So I have just listed 5. There will be a lot more. So usually these technologies can be referred using JSR terms also. Say for example, JSR specification that tells which version of servlet. JSR 2.1, JSR 3 means we call that as servlet 2.0 or servlet 3 version. Same goes for other technologies also. So each versional change also requires a review and publication. So then the vendors we already talked about, right? Whether it is a Tomcat or a Wildfly, they will look for a specification change also. So if they already implemented servlet if they already implemented servlet in the prior release of JavaEE, say JavaEE 4, a specific servlet version, and in JavaEE 5, if servlet version is changed from 2.1 to 3, I'm just taking it for an example. So then the vendors, they will keep updating their implementation. So they will release their own version of Tomcat. Say for example, Tomcat 5, then Tomcat 8, Tomcat 5. They will support certain specification and features of JavaEE. Then in the Tomcat 8, they will provide support for maybe the latest release of the JavaEE updates, which is pushed through the Java community process. So that's the background here. Now let us see how to set up Eclipse and Wildfly. So the very first stuff is go to Google, then search for Eclipse Java Neon 64-bit. So if you already have a specific version of Eclipse, then so to follow the tutorial which I'm going to explain in the coming series, it will be better to have the specific version of Eclipse as well as Java, so your learning process goes smooth. So as already told in the slide, vendor will implement a specific version of JSR specification. So each release means they have a compatibility of a specific version of JavaEE components. So if you have some earlier version of Eclipse, then you may see some error while implementing the JavaEE technologies. So first make sure you have a 64-bit OS, then take Java Neon for a 64-bit version. So here I have Eclipse IDE Neon 3 package. Click on that. Then if you see, you have both the version of Eclipse IDE for JavaEE developer. So there are two flavors available. One is Eclipse IDE for Java developers. Here this is meant for people who develop a desktop application. You can even read the description here. JavaEE developers. So this Eclipse IDE for this IDE is for enterprise application developer. So here I am downloading 64-bit, and if your OS is 32-bit, then download a 32-bit version of Eclipse. if your OS is 64-bit, you have to make sure your Java 8 also from 64-bit. So Eclipse integration should match with the Java runtime. So if you have Java SDK in 32-bit and downloaded a Eclipse 64-bit, then it won't cope up. So previously I downloaded Java 64-bit, that's why I am downloading Eclipse 64-bit. So this goes to download page, so I'm clicking download. So do not worry about this error. So we are downloading it from a trusted site, so I'm clicking on keep. So this will download Eclipse Neon. I am pausing this video as it may take some time. So the Java Eclipse is downloaded. I'm going here for show all, then show in folder. So here is the downloaded location of our 64-bit version of Eclipse. First let me rename it. So I'm renaming it as Eclipse Neon ee.zip. So then you can move it to your convenient location. So I'm pasting that zip file here in D drive Eclipse. After that I am extracting it here. So the extraction will take some time. Let's wait. So it is extracted. To extract I used a 7-zip, and if you have some other zip utility, using that you can extract it. So this intermediate Eclipse folder is not required, so I'm just copying the content. I'm just then pasting it here, and I'm just deleting it. Next we will create a shortcut. So to create the shortcut, right click and choose create shortcut, then rename it to Eclipse JavaEE Neon. If you need, you can put 64-bit. Alright, let's copy this, go to desktop and paste it. So that's all. Now we can try launching it. Before that, you make sure you already set environment variable for your Java. So to do that, go to this PC, right click, properties, advanced system settings, environment variable, and if you see, I already set Java home to my JDK 1.8. the specific version is 151. So you can take any JDK 1.8 because Eclipse Neon and JDK 1.8 will cope good and your learning experience goes smooth. So this is a environment variable specific to the currently logged in user. Here I'm using Windows 10, and if you want this environment variable to reflect all the user, then you can go to system variable, and there you can add Java home. So to add a new environment variable, click on this new, then type Java _home, then specify the path here in the environment variable. or you can browse for a directory and specify that. Say for example, here I'm specifying XYZ. So then you have to click OK, and that will set an environment variable. Here if I click OK, it will create a new environment variable called XYZ, and the value for that environment variable is D drive domains. So likewise you can create an environment variable for Java. Now I am opening the Eclipse Neon. So it will ask you to set a workspace name, and you can create a folder for our learning purpose. So here I am creating G temp. So and I am specifying that since this is the first time I'm loading, and you can see here it will create some of the meta files for the workspace. So Eclipse IDE is opened. So before doing all this, let me summarize what are all the stuff you have to make sure. First, download the Java JDK 1.8, and it will be good if you download a 64-bit version. If your OS is 64-bit, download 64-bit version of JDK 1.8, install it. After installing the JDK, set the environment path as we specified. After that, download the Eclipse IDE as we shown here. So we downloaded it from eclipse.org. Then installation is simple. Just unzip the Eclipse zip file, then create a shortcut and place it on your desktop folder for easy access. Now we have Eclipse ready. So next, here by default you can see you are in JavaEE perspective, because we downloaded Eclipse for JavaEE. So by default it will come as JavaEE perspective. Then click on the server, then click on create new server. So here it talks about Red Hat, JBoss middleware, JBoss Wildfly EAP server. So we are going to use EAP. We are going to use a Wildfly server. So let's click next. There are other servers also. So in the slide we talked about vendors, right? So these are all the vendors. Apache is one vendor, and you can see they implement JavaEE through different version of their middleware server. So that's Tomcat. And Oracle, if you see, they have WebLogic server, Glassfish. IBM, you can see WebSphere. So here from Red Hat we are seeing JBoss as Wildfly. Click on next. You need internet connection so that it will download the required plugins. Let me pause the video, it may take some time. Now I'm clicking I accept license term and license agreement, then click on finish. Now once again it performs the download. Let me pause it. Here it is actually installing the plugin for any of these servers, JBoss or Wildfly or EAP server. So this plugin you can use for any of the server. That means you can use it for JBoss AS or Wildfly or EAP server tools. And you can see how much percent is completed here, 32%. Time also you can note down. It's 5:30 in the evening, and I have a moderate internet connection. So usually when you are downloading this, you may think that Eclipse is not processing it, or it is hanging at some particular stage. So that's why I'm asking you to check this percentage and the timing. So this process will usually take some time, so be patient. So in the middle you get such a warning, and you can click OK and you can proceed with the installation. So the plugin is from trusted content, I mean from the trusted source, so you can actually proceed. So I'm clicking OK and I am proceeding. So if you see here, it took almost 3 minutes with the decent internet connection. It states that you will need to restart Eclipse for the changes to take effect. Would you like to restart now? So let's click yes. So it's your choice. You can click yes or no. So after that, after the plugin installation, Eclipse is restarted. And now we will click once again here. And if you see, now we got one more new link, JBoss community. And you can see there are different middleware server plugins are available here. Let us pick Wildfly 10.x, and we will rename this as Wildfly 10. Click on next. So here we are going to set up the server locally. Remember, here we are just downloaded the plugin only. We haven't yet downloaded Wildfly application server. We will do that next. So I'm just showing you the screens. So runtime details are not yet set. Let me click next. And if you see the JRE runtime, the setup already picked the JRE runtime. So because of Java Home, it picked JDK 1.8 151 and environment is Java SE 1.8. So if you want to specify alternate, then you can click alternate JRE, then click on the installed JREs. And if you want to add, you can click the add button and specify the location, then add the JRE location. That means the runtime environment location. You can look at the path here. So by default, it will pick the installed JDK. So after installing the JDK, just restart your machine so that the environment variable will be visible to the Eclipse. Once you, after installing JDK, restart the machine, then download Eclipse, extract it. After that, install the plugin. You can see how we installed the plugin. Now let me close this again. Why? Because here I want to download and install Wildfly 10x runtime. So that's what this plugin is suggesting us. So that's why I came to this screen. Now I am canceling it. So since our Eclipse is asking to download, so whatever plugin we downloaded, that is asking to install a server, Wildfly Server 10x. So let's download and install Wildfly 10. So wildfly.org. So this is the vendor we are going to use. So pick the JavaEE full and web distribution. Click on this zip file. So you can see that it is downloading it. It may take some time. So the download is completed, and if you see, we have taken 10.1, which was released on year 2016. There are other releases also. So our plugin stated 10 as well as 11x also it's supported. So 11x is on 2016. So we may not have proper plugin support for the Neon, Eclipse Neon. That means we have to download even more latest version of Neon to make use of these releases. So, but for our requirement, this release is enough for studying the servlet. So I just downloaded 10.1. Then you have to extract this. And if you see, I already kept that here 10.1 final. Then I extracted the zip file to the app server Wildfly 10.1.final. So I'm removing it from our download. So this is our app server runtime. Now go to Eclipse and click here. So we have 10x runtime, so I'm clicking that. Here I am specifying Wildfly 10. The server is local, controlled by file system and shell operation, and just accept the default. Then click next. Name, I am once again giving it as Wildfly 10. Then home directory, I'm just clicking this and specifying our installation location. So if you see, it picked up a server based directory and configuration file. Let's click next. I click on the finish button. So now you can start this Wildfly server by right clicking it, and you can click start. So it opens up a console window and it is starting it. Let us look for is there any red mark for errors. So that's all. It states that Wildfly server is started. And when you go to server, you can see that the Wildfly server is started and synchronized. All right, now let us keep it as running, and we will create a new dynamic web project. And we will name this project as my first. Here we are not going to create a servlet, we will just create a HTML page. And if you see, we are taking everything as default, dynamic web module version 3.1. I'm clicking next here, click next, and click on finish button. So this will create a project. Now here I am creating new HTML file. So let's accept the default new file, HTML5 content, click finish. So in the body tag, I'm just typing h1. And if you expand web content, you can see the new file.html. Right click here, run as, run on server. So it asks you to publish this content. How do you want to select server? So here we are selecting Wildfly, and my first is already there. That's the project name we created. Click on finish, and you can see my first is added here. So now our web server is displaying the HTML content testing Wildfly server. So you can take this URL, make sure server is still running. You can go to IE, and type that content. So localhost 8080. So this is where our Wildfly server is running. Here we specified my first, then new file.html, and it states that it displays our HTML content from this web server. Let's close this, and we will stop it. So it is stopped. Now you can double click this server, and if you want to change the properties of this server, you can do it. So I am accepting the default. Server name is Wildfly, host name localhost, then publishing, automatically publish when resource changes. So we will take control of it. We will say when we want to publish. Then timeout. So we'll put some seconds. I think this is decent enough. 5 minutes is okay. So 60 seconds is 1 minute. almost 7 to 7.5 minutes. So here it displays 7.5 minutes. That's okay. This is also okay. Right. Rest we can accept the default. Name Wildfly 10 localhost. So I'm just checking for the port number. So this is our web port. So it states deduct from local runtime. So if server is now if you want, you can change it. Let us accept the default. So timeout we can increase. Say let me put 10 minutes, and we can save. If you want to change a different name here, you can do that, and it will display here in Wildfly. So that's all in this tutorial. We actually downloaded Eclipse, then we downloaded Wildfly, then within Eclipse we downloaded a plugin for Wildfly, and after that we set up everything. So if you want the sequence, let me repeat once again. First we downloaded the Eclipse from the Eclipse org site. Then we downloaded Neon for 64-bit. After that we opened the Eclipse. Then we gone to server tab and we installed the plugin for Wildfly. So after installing the Wildfly plugin, we gone to new server creation, and from there we identified that where the downloaded plugin will support a specific version of a server runtime. So we deducted that we can use either I forgot 7.8 or 6.8, I don't know, from runtime 8, I guess 8, 9, 10 and 11 we can use. So we downloaded version 10 of Wildfly. After that we came here to Eclipse, and once again we opened the server tab and we added the Wildfly runtime. So this plugin is just an intermediary bridge. It needs to know the real runtime. So once runtime is provided, then we can start and stop the server. All right. So then we created our first project, my first, and here we doesn't create any servlet, but we created a HTML file. Then we saw how to open that HTML file in Wildfly server. I mean, how to display the HTML file through Wildfly server. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.